You could be the most talented person in the room and still lose to someone half as skilled. Right now, in this very moment, people are making irreversible decisions about your worth based entirely on how you look, how you sound, how you carry yourself. And the brutal truth, they don't care how much talent you're hiding behind that face. Niccolò Machiavelli understood something 500 years ago that modern people are still fighting to accept. The world doesn't reward genius. It rewards the image of genius. Think about this for a moment. You know someone brilliant. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's someone you watch rise to the top of their field, and every logical part of your brain tells you they deserve it. But deep down, in that quiet part of your mind that notices things, you know the truth. They're not necessarily the most talented. They're just the most visible, the most remembered, the one who looked the part. We tell ourselves stories about meritocracy. We say hard work wins. We say talent rises to the top. We say good things happen to good people. But these are lies we tell ourselves so we can sleep at night. Because the alternative is too uncomfortable. The alternative is accepting that your brilliance might never see the light of day, not because you lack skill, but because you didn't understand the most important game being played around you. Machiavelli wasn't interested in what was true. He was interested in what worked. And what works is not the objective reality of your abilities. What works is the perception of your abilities. What works is the face you present to the world. Your actual talent is a secret. Your presentation is a broadcast. And in a world of noise and chaos and endless competition, the broadcast always wins. You've experienced this yourself, even if you haven't named it. That moment when someone less qualified than you got the job because they interviewed better. That moment when your idea was dismissed until someone with a better reputation said the same thing and suddenly it was genius. That moment when you realized that being right wasn't enough. Being right and being seen as right are two completely different things. The world doesn't care about the talent you're hiding. It cares about the image you're projecting. This isn't cynical. This is honest. And honesty is what separates people who understand power from people who remain powerless their entire lives. Machiavelli was called evil for stating the obvious, that human beings don't actually want truth. They want the appearance of truth. They don't want genuine virtue. They want to perceive virtue. And those who understand this gap, the space between what is and what appears to be, those people control everything. Look at history. The greatest conquerors weren't always the strongest. Warriors. They were the ones who understood how to make people believe in their strength. The greatest leaders weren't the wisest philosophers. They were the ones who seemed wise. The greatest business people aren't always the ones with the best products. They're the ones who made the world believe their products were the best. This principle operates in your life every single day. When you walk into a room, people don't instantly analyze your deepest talents. They see you. They make a snap judgment based on your appearance, your posture, your energy, your confidence. Within seconds, not minutes, seconds, they've decided whether you're worth listening to, whether you're worth respecting, whether you're worth following. And you can't change their minds with talent alone because they've already decided before you've had a chance to prove anything. The person who understands this takes control of their own narrative. They don't wait for their work to speak for itself because they know that work will be silent and invisible if no one's paying attention. They craft an image. They control how they're perceived. They become the idea they want to project into the world. And then, and only then, does their actual talent have a platform. But here's the twist that most people miss. This isn't about dishonesty. This isn't about pretending to be something you're not. Machiavelli understood something deeper than surface manipulation. He understood that in a social world, image and reality are not opposites. They're intertwined. Your face is part of your talent. The way you present yourself is part of your skill. The confidence you project is part of your ability. Think about it this way. Two musicians with identical technical skill. One walks on stage with their shoulders back, their presence filling the room before they even play a note. The other walks on nervously, apologetically, Same talent, different results. Why? Because the first one's confidence, their presentation, their image, those aren't separate from their talent. They're part of their talent. They're elements of their overall power. This is what makes Machiavelli's wisdom so dangerous and so liberating at the same time. Once you understand that the world judges by appearance, you have a choice. You can resent this truth and remain invisible, or you can master it and become unforgettable. The people who win, in business, in relationships, in influence, in everything, they're not necessarily the most talented. They're the ones who decided their image matters as much as their ability. They're the ones who understood that power isn't just what you can do, it's what people believe you can do. And belief is created through perception. You need to understand something about yourself and everyone around you. We're all performing. Every single day, you're not being fake when you dress well for an interview. You're not being inauthentic when you control your emotions in front of authority. You're not pretending when you highlight your accomplishments in a conversation. You're doing what every successful person has always done. You're managing your image in a world that judges on image. But most people do this accidentally, inconsistently, and ineffectively. They put on a good face for important meetings and then wonder why they're not advancing. They have genuine talent, but undermine themselves with poor presentation. They're constantly trying to be seen for their work, while ignoring the reality. That being seen comes first. Being seen is the prerequisite. Your talent is useless if no one's looking. Machiavelli's lesson isn't that talent doesn't matter. It's that talent alone is naive. It's that expecting the world to recognize your value, without you actively creating the conditions for that recognition, is a fantasy. The world is too loud. There are too many people competing for attention. Your brilliance will be silent if you don't give it a voice. The question isn't whether this is fair, it's whether you're going to accept reality and use it to your advantage, or whether you're going to spend your life angry that the world doesn't work the way you think it should. There's a cost to gaining control over your image. It requires self-awareness. It requires emotional intelligence. It requires you to understand how people perceive you and why. It requires you to be intentional about every element of how you present yourself. It requires you to sometimes act confident when you don't feel confident, to sound certain when you're uncertain, to project strength when you feel weak. This is not deception. This is discipline. The world's greatest performers, whether they're CEOs or athletes or artists, they all understand this. They understand that part of their role is to manage the narrative, to control what people see, to ensure that their image aligns with their ambition. They're not lying about who they are. They're being selective about what they reveal and when. They're being intentional about the impression they create. And here's what's remarkable. Once you become this intentional, something shifts. Your actual talent starts to shine through. Why? Because you're no longer trapped in the anxiety of being unseen. You're no longer desperate for people to notice your work. You've taken control of your own visibility. And from that position of control, your genuine ability can finally have an impact. The bitterest form of failure isn't not being talented. It's being talented and unknown. It's being capable and invisible. It's being brilliant and irrelevant, because no one was ever given a reason to look closely enough to notice. Machiavelli would have said what I'm saying now with a smile. He would have acknowledged the cruelty of the human condition. We judge on appearance. We decide quickly and rarely change our minds. We follow the people who seem strong, not necessarily the ones who are strongest. And the person who accepts this truth and acts accordingly becomes powerful. The person who fights it remains powerless. So the question for you is this: are you going to continue hoping that your talent will be enough? Are you going to keep waiting for the world to notice what you're capable of? Or are you going to take control of your own narrative? Are you going to become intentional about your image? Are you going to understand that the face the world sees is as much a part of your success as the talent behind it? Your face is not separate from your ability. It's the gateway to it. And right now, in this moment, the world is looking. What do you want them to see? Do subscribe.